what happens with eclipses is something that happens only twice a year. We have sort of, it's as if the curtains of the theater are pulled to a length that we can see backstage, to makeup, to lights, to all the scenes and scenarios and props that come on the stage to be seen. So there is a reason this only happens twice a year. We're not supposed to see this level of awareness and to see this level of attained consciousness all the time. Otherwise, we would go bonkers. It's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be in a bit of an eternal bliss every now and then. But every 6 months, we are reminded that we need to put that pin and chase it down the map of our soul. And we need to attain those things and chase those things hard, because it always comes in either Aries or Libra, Taurus or Scorpio. Hello, all you beautiful, enlightened people. Welcome to London. Welcome to Hyde Park. After 6 months around the world, I'm finally back home, at least what I call home. And we are here today to talk about something that's going to influence us for the next 6 months of our existence. The beautiful total solar eclipse that we had on the 8th of April. This video is not about that day. This video is about the 6 months we're about to incur in. And for that reason, we should prepare ourselves. For every 6 months, eclipses bring us the awareness of the energy that we're going to live throughout this time until the next eclipse. And as you know, every spring equinox, every autumn equinox, we're going to have eclipses again. For it's when you have that perfect half distance of sun, earth, and moon to keep everybody covering each other. So what was this total solar eclipse about? This solar eclipse occurred in Aries on a degree of Scorpio this time. So the energy is very much about connecting these two sides that represent primal fear, but at the same time our primal desire. It's about fusing what makes us animals. In a way, it's about fusing the beautiful instinct we have inside that needs something to be done. Aries will inform you on those urges you have, on those instinctive urges you have when it comes to the things that you want to do. In my classes, in my academy, I normally say that it's a want kind of masqueraded as a need, because when we don't follow our wants the way that they present themselves immediately, the delay of that instinctive, wishful, willful manner of feeling gives some space to regret and to rage, and then later on to depression. We can't stop ourselves from doing the things we want. We can't stop ourselves from behaving the way we want. And this has been my tone throughout the last year on these videos, as you can see. But it's because we're still under this influence of the sky. We still have to learn that it is okay for us to be ourselves. It is okay to express ourselves in the words that we want to express. And it is okay to purchase and pursue the things that we want, that are actually the things that we need. For the wants of Aries are very much linked to your spirit. It is your personality. It's who you are. It's your identity. When you pursue doing that thing that you've been dreaming about right now, and more on that later on this video about the eclipses, you see that then you learn how to behave in a certain social environment. You learn how to deal with certain people. You learn how to behave in your love life and learn to say no to certain people and learn to say yes to other experiences. So chasing what you want doesn't have to have an outcome. Remember that. For Aries is not a sign of outcomes. Aries is a child. We are not here to focus on the outcome, the deadline, what's going to happen after we achieve a certain goal or anything like that. Is the true and beautiful pleasure of just pure experimentation. You experiment the want of your spirit right now. You experiment the willfulness that resides inside you, and from that, everything that life has for you will unfold. So this is one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is Scorpio. That's the whole point of this. the point of vulnerability, the point of detachment, and that little beautiful thing that Scorpio has, that is intimacy. First detachment, then vulnerability, then intimacy unfolds. When you want things, on the Aries perspective, you are in a chasing mode, similarly to all these puppies we see around, running around in Hyde Park, chasing crows and geese. And when you engage into that like hero mode, into that like chaser mode, into that like hunting spirit, you don't bargain. You're not thinking about the outcome, true. You're not thinking about deadlines and whatever else, but you want things to come to fruition. You want things to happen. You're not in a position to be like soft and kind and gentle and say, oh, whatever is pleasable for you. No, you want to chase it like a hunting dog. So in that sense, you run to the other side of the spectrum and you reach Scorpio, where you become very attached to the things you possess and to the things you want. And that's one of the strange beauties of the universe. The more attached you become to things, the easier it is for them to let go and away from you. That's why this eclipse was so hard on so many people and so easy on so many people. And I don't believe there was like a medium like size and a medium measure in here. People were either desperate because they were too attached to things, or they were absolutely free because they were completely detached from outcome. Or again, as always, and as I always say, you might have lived both in different spectrums of your life. You might have felt the attachment on your love life, but complete detachment on your professional and work life, or vice versa, doesn't matter. So what this eclipse brings to the table is there has never come a time where you've been more clearly informed on the things that you want and that are good for you and necessary for your natural development. Chase them. But in chasing them, don't become attached on the how, don't become attached on the outcome. Understand that when you see the things you want, you get a sensation out of it, a kind of emotion, an emotion of joy, thrill, excitement, peace, serenity, curiosity, creativity, sharing, love, whatever it is that you do feel. And that is the product. We never really want to chase experiences or people or stuff. We want the emotions. That's why Scorpio is the wiser of this whole bunch right here. Go for it, try it out, seek it out, but always have this thought and this kind of mantra in the back of your mind. I'm not looking for anything to happen. I'm looking for experimenting. Because in the process of doing such things, you will see that you will let go on a lot of things throughout these 6 months. It's now or never. It's time for minimalism at all levels of our life. The Virgos must be exploding right now because it's time for organizing. Everybody like is feeling super, super, super organized. The Libras are like probably bursting in debate in their minds because they see that they can finally speak their truth. Everybody's open. Everybody wants to see the pros and the cons, the dark and the light side of everything. And the grasp of this is, when you can't force something, be vulnerable. Admit you're feeling scared to the person who's in front of you. Especially when it comes to financial situations. For this eclipse is very much linked to the way we deal with finances. There's a beautiful sextile to the big conjunction that's going to happen on the 21st of March, the conjunction of Jupiter to Uranus. And that conjunction is very much about the learning how to engage with resources from the earth. We are super disengaged to this. We are so attached about the game of working, making money and purchasing and attaining a certain status, attaining a certain lifestyle, attaining certain qualities and benefits of life. And we don't realize that we are buying and purchasing many times out of places that are so detached from the natural resources. Think about this for a moment. How many times do you choose Amazon out of the out of the natural benefit of fastness that's there. And that's justifiable. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but how does that detach you from true resourcefulness? Doesn't anyone have something you might need? Can't a friend borrow something you're actually in need right now? Do you see what I mean there? How detached are we from the sense of possession? And how attached are we to the sense of feeling shame to having to borrow something from someone? Weird, isn't it? When in truth, it is not the one individual and the one individual's bank account. We are all in this together. If I need a mug, a friend can give it to me. Do you see? It is a simple, funny, and kind of caricatural metaphor here, but it's you can put this idea to use on anything that's happening on your life. You're having romantic life issues. Go to the friend that actually have a fantastic loving relationship. Go ask for advice. Ask for the advice of the things that went wrong on yours. Discussions start, debate starts, like fights, gaslighting and whatnot, and then you just lost in the relationship. And how do you get out of there? You break up. How would your friend deal with this? Ask, be vulnerable, become intimate to these parts of you that need seeing and that need using. Now, let's get to specifics, shall we? Because I do tend to speak in a very abstract way, and sometimes that's not so fun. Aries is about children, babies, tantrums, adults or childish ones, sports, your physical body, the awareness of your physical abilities, rage, will, in a way, or want, instinctive want. When kids really want chewing gum and they forget to ask their mom, and suddenly the hands are out of the canter and the chewing gum is going in the pocket. And it's like, put that back in, I have to pay for that. And it is very much about dealing with hierarchical figures, dealing with the father, dealing with your boss, and standing in a position of leadership in your own life. And in here, this eclipse invites you to define the kind of leader you are. Are you a kind of leader who needs to hand force things and feel and assert your own will and feel appreciated by everyone? Okay, good. If you are, understand that you can't force appreciation out of others, but there are ways to live a life seeking appreciation and still not looking like an arrogant prick. These are you see, little spheres that we have to shape. Leadership is very important right now, and being kind of the captain of your soul, as they say, being the master of your faith and the captain of your soul. Scorpio, on the other hand, deals with the big amounts of money, the inherited money, debts, like big debts, like student loans, stuff like that. Deals with, naturally, sex and intimacy, deals with all your intimate relationships. Think about this for a moment. We tend to see intimate relationships as immediately like sexual connections and stuff. Not necessarily. Sometimes we're very intimate with a best friend. Sometimes we're very intimate with our moms. We have a very good friendship with our moms. So it is not so much about the sexual intimacy, but also the vulnerability that comes from being intimate with a long-time friend or someone who's really, when you're tied to the hip with someone, when you're really, really close. But mostly, Scorpio deals with your Kundalini, the life stream that inhabits inside you and tells you the path where to go in life. It is funny that these two signs are linked to Mars. For in Aries, we will find our fear, our conscious fear that we are in awareness of, like someone being, and an irrational fear at that. So, for example, Ron Weasley's fear of spiders, like it's completely irrational to be fearful of a spider, especially in the UK. There's no poisonous spiders, not like in India. And then he is aware of that fear and he blatantly verbalizes it and communicates it. And it's primal fears, it's something that takes over your body. You don't really know where it's going, but you're just afraid of spiders. When you go to the other end of Scorpio, you deal with the deepest form of fear humans can take on. And that is the irrational, unconscious, and completely uncontrollable fear. And it's a very justifiable fear on a soul level. It deals with your past lives. It's something that you have felt before. It's something that you have experienced before. And there is a very clear reason for your soul to be scared of that, because you're not to touch that side and that spectrum of you right now. Not necessarily on this lifetime, but no, what I mean is that doesn't mean you won't necessarily touch it on this lifetime. But if you're still afraid of it and you're not questioning it in any way, maybe it's not the time to deal with it. I have this friend, and she's deeply scared of children. She had a very traumatized childhood, and she's scared of babies, to the point that we ride the tube and she's like, can we just change places? There's a thing in there. She does not even say it's a child. It's just, there's a thing in there. And she needs to get away from that, because her sense of motherhood is so disconnected from her person that if she engages in this experience, she will start to sort of decompose herself or destroy herself. So for now, this is the alert from a soul telling her, keep away from this. Does this mean she won't ever be a mom? Does this mean she will fear this forever? Honestly, I highly doubted, knowing her birth chart. But the truth is, those fears, no matter how irrational, no matter how unconscious, they have to be respected. They exist for a reason. On this eclipse, you're being informed of both. That's why anyone goes insane and anxious about the eclipses. You see what you want, you see what you desire, you see where you should be, you see where you want to go, but you have no idea how to attain it, and that is all right. Eclipse is not a moment to act. An eclipse is a moment to take a break, register things down, and wait for a moment of better awareness for you to know what's going on in here. What happens with eclipses is something that happens only twice a year. We have sort of, it's as if the curtains of the theater are pulled to a length that we can see backstage, to makeup, to lights, to all the scenes and scenarios and props that come on the stage to be seen. So there is a reason this only happens twice a year. We're not supposed to see this level of awareness and to see this level of attained consciousness all the time. Otherwise, we would go bonkers. It's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be in a bit of an eternal bliss every now and then. But every 6 months, we are reminded that we need to put that pin and chase it down the map of our soul. And we need to attain those things and chase those things hard, because it always comes in either Aries or Libra, Taurus or Scorpio, which are very feisty when it comes to chasing down things. So know this. It is okay. Sit with that anxiety, sit with that fear, sit with that doubt, sit with that depression, sit with that rage, sit with that desperation, sit with that anguish of feeling so attached and incapable of becoming vulnerable to the situation you have at hand. Sit with it, feel it through, let literally those emotions come through your body, and know that everything that's happening on your subconscious mind, when you're awake, when you have visions, when you think about, when you remember a song, when you remember a friend, when you take in a phone call of someone unexpected, your dreams, the films you see, the books you read, everything right now on the span of this week and these 10 days is informing you on the actions you'll have to take in a moment. It is not supposed for us to understand the things that we are informed on right now. But eventually, it will come a time that life comes knocking on the door and says, hey, today's your day. You ready? And you go on that notebook where you took so many notes about all this. You grab your coat and you go and take the world. Thank you so much for watching this video. Welcome back. We are back for good now. Know that times are challenging, but there's a reason you incarnated right now. And I think this is so important for us that seek the light, for light work, is for people that chase the stream of consciousness on this planet, for the aware neurons, the ones that are on paths of bringing consciousness to people like me, like you. I think it's important to remember ourselves that we chose this. We chose to incarnate in this moment. We chose to live in these challenging times. And at the same time, that is the beauty of it. Because when we tame the game to a certain level, we lose that hump, we lose that sense of difficulty and fun, in a way, the fun of the challenge, the fun of the hardship. But when you do run the marathon and you look back and say, damn, I did this, I did that, I conquered that, like I climbed that mountain, I conquered that trophy, there's a sense of fulfillment in yourself. So remember that you chose this for a reason. And that when you have the awareness of astrology in your life, when you understand why things happen the way they do, and when you understand why certain things are put in place in front of you, life goes back to being at peace. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, stay light and stay golden.